You thought I was gone. We're back. More Theme Chronicle decks. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I have 3 more Theme Chronicle decks to talk about because I'm going to continue to talk about this until I die. Or until the event's over, whichever comes first. Anyway, we have Orchest here. We're going to start off with Orcus, which is, in my mind, the best deck in the current Theme Chronicle for 2 reasons. 1, Nightmare Mermaid is back, which means that any 2 monsters does the full Orcus combo, and 2, the full Orcus combo is quite good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's actually just pretty strong in this. And it's very difficult for a lot of decks to actually beat that, even with just like 1 non-engine. On top of that, you actually do have the ability to play non-engine, unlike with, I don't know, Plant Link or something like that. So, there you go. Let's quickly go through the card by card and the explanations with the Orchest one. We have ourselves the Terror Top as well as Sakatomborg as just a way to get 2 bodies onto the field to go into the Nightmare Mermaid. I'm also playing the Dangers as well because I feel like they're just a little bit better for 2 reasons. 1, drawing a card is very nice, and being able to pitch something like an Orcus Harpor or a Symbol Skeleton is very strong. That's pretty much it. Also, on top of that, there are ways to get like guys onto the field and then do that to go into Nightmare Mermaid and such. So that's also another way. And then the rest of this is pretty simple, but we're playing 3 Harpor, the 3 Mech Girsu, 2 apiece of Nightmare Mermaid, as well as Symbol Skeleton, as well as we're playing 2 Armageddonite, just as another way to normal summon. I like having 5 normal summons, so the 3 here, the 2 here, that's 5. We're also playing ourselves the 1 World Wand, as well as the 1 Return, the 1 Babel, and I'm playing 2 Crescendo. This can be a little bit breaky, but I've noticed that just like having that extra, the extra counter trap, and sometimes drawing the counter trap is very useful, so that's more so what it's there for. As for the rest of the cards, it's 3 Ash, 3 Fua, 2 Droplet, 3 Infith, and 2 Nibiru. Nibiru has been a godsend in this event, so like it's just very, very useful. As for the extra deck, it's pretty simple, but the most important things are the 2 Ding Girsu, the 2 Galatea, and the 1 Lung Girsu, as well as things like IP Masquerena, Avermax, and things to go into. And then, of course, the Nightmares. I play both Cerberus and Phoenix because oftentimes I want to use Phoenix to actually pop a back row, whereas I like to use Cerberus to actually go into the Nightmare Mermaid. That's pretty much it. And yeah, let's just hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going second, and that's 3 hand traps and full combo. Let's see what we can do here. My opponent is going to start off here with the Eldlich, and oh! Daddy Eldlich, there he is. So, honestly, the 3 hand traps that we have are honestly kind of bad, or the 3 non-engines, I should say. So, not exactly exceptional, but outcomes for all line, and then they just pass. I draw Crescendo, which is kind of something, so there's that. We're going to go for the Armageddon. Never mind, we're going to do nothing of the sort. And, yeah, at this point I just set 3 and pass. There's not really anything else that I can do here. I'm just kind of hoping and praying that the Harp Horror is able to hit the grave, or something else along those lines. My opponent's going to go for the Eldlich here, and it is set Conquistador, and then they're going to go for the Eldlich again, the different one, in order to set the Fusion spell, because apparently we're playing the Fusion spell. They're going to Fusion summon here into the Eldlich, the Mad Lad, and then they're going to negate our Infith. That's fine, he's not going to do anything. Anyway, out comes the Eldlich, they're going to go to combat here. I'm going to send 2 cards to the graveyard, most notably the Crescendo. I also send Nibiru. You're probably wondering, why not send the Orcus Harp Horror? Well, because we can send Crescendo, which basically does the same thing. So, that's pretty much it. Realistically, though, yes, I should have sent the Harp Horror, but I just didn't. Oops. Yeah. Instead of sending the Nibiru, I should have sent the Harp Horror. Anyway, I grab up the Girsu off of the counter trap and draw into a second Nibiru. I only played the 2 because of this exact reason. Anyway, we're going to normal summon the Girsu, and then this allows us to go and summon the token, which then summons the Nightmare Mermaid, or the Nightmare Phoenix, which can go into the Mermaid, and here we can actually pitch the Harp Horror as well. My opponent decides to waste both of their traps to deal with the Nightmare there, but it's fine because we already had the Harp Horror in grave, so we're going to go and send a bunch of cards to the graveyard. Special summon the Symbol Skeleton, and then send the World Wand. World Wand will then reborn here with the Nightmare, reborn the Orcus Nightmare, and then we can go into Galatea. Galatea is going to shuffle back the Harp Horror, and I'm going to set the Crescendo. This is kind of a mistake on my part. I really should have just gone Babel here, because I see a line after doing this that's way better, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I should just do that. However, Crescendo is like just good in general, and yeah. Anyway, beside the point, realistically, this is what I should do. So we're going to go for the Dingirsu. I'm going to send away the fusion monster. I'm going to go to combat, walk over the trap card, which is kind of interesting. Why did I do that? Also, I should have done this earlier, just to deal with the token. The token's not really going to matter, but like I should have done this. But now I can go into Dark, steal their Fraulein, and then go into a Link 3 of Nightmare Unicorn and shuffle away the Eldlich. Now again, I kind of did this poorly. Realistically, what I should have done is actually go in main phase 1, Dingirsu and a guy, walk over the Eldlich with the Dingirsu, walk over the token with the other guy, and then go main phase 2, Nightmare Unicorn, shuffle away the trap. That's what I should have done. I'm stupid. I also should have put Babel onto the field instead of the Orcus Crescendo, and I don't do that, so bit of a goof. Also, yeah, giving them this token actually does matter. However, it's not really that big of a deal because my opponent is playing terrible cards like Carnot, which I never seen before. You can read it. It's bad. It's not very good, but it's there. Anyway, they're gonna banish to set an Elixir, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. This all it does is going to summon Eldlich, so not really that big of a deal. We have full follow up in Grave, so I'm gonna give my opponent an additional boost, and then we're going to go for the Harpor into Girsu send it the Symbol Skeleton, create a token, go into Link Kuriboh, go into the Galatea, and then we're going to activate the effect of the Galatea, putting back the World Wand in order to set the Babel. We can flip up the Babel here, and at this point, this counter trap is now live, so that's something of note, which we wouldn't have been able to have live earlier, so now this trap card basically does nothing. We're going to summon the Dingirsu here, we're going to activate the effect, and I'm actually going to attach here, because it's just better, right? I'll show you. So we're going to walk into the field, just walk over what we can, and then we are going to link 3 into Longirsu, which is still a link monster for the Orcus Crescendo, and it also can shuffle back 2 in order to send away the monster, which is then going to shuffle itself back into the deck. And at this point, my opponent can't really do anything because of the counter trap, so yeah, we just win the game, and my opponent just concedes. Good game. Alright, so here we are playing Dark Lord, which I haven't played in a long time, for a good reason, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, or more specifically in the TCG and Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and any other format in which it's the standard Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Lord is not good. And let me explain why. Dark Lord is a deck that relies on utilizing monster effects in hand, or monster effects on the field in order to generate additional advantage by paying 1,000 to target a Dark Lord spell trap and copying it from the field, or by discarding Dark Lords to do a thing. So this means you want a critical mass of Dark Lords. However, the Dark Lords by themselves don't actually do anything. They require you to see the traps, or the spells, right? The spells and the traps. So, all in all, they're not exactly something that's going to be advantageous if you have a whole bunch of them. So there's basically 2 ways of playing this deck. Either you can play it as a fusion deck with Branded or something along those lines in order to kind of like put the fusion onto the field, because the fusion's pretty good, right? Can't be targeted, reborn's a guy, it's pretty solid. Right. But on top of that, you could also play it as a link deck, which is what I'm aiming to do here, with just like being able to summon a whole bunch of guys, because Superbia is not a once per turn, so you can like summon it back a couple times and like get a whole bunch of bodies onto the field. So like that's fairly solid. There's a few other things that you can do as well, but for the most part, the problem with the Dark Lord is that you acquire Dark Lord cards in your hand to do anything, but there's not enough good Dark Lords that you want to see in your hand to where it's actually advantageous to play a bunch of Dark Lords, because there's a ton of Dark Lords, to be fair. But like half of them are just bad and don't do anything. Capricious doesn't really do anything unless you have like a really good setup. Amdusk doesn't start anything. Nastin doesn't start anything. Superbia, a dead card. Tez is just protection. Nurgle, literally dead in your hand. Both Desire and Morningstar literally can't even be special summoned. That's how bad they are. So like a lot of these cards are just like not starters and not very good. So for the most part, it's not really advantageous to play a whole bunch of Dark Lords. That being said, I still thoroughly enjoy the deck, and it's really good in Duel Links because of the fact that you don't have to play all of these terrible cards, and you can just play like the good Dark Lords, because you can literally take out at minimum 10 of these useless cards. However, with that being said, I do like to play the non-engine, so I'm playing a bunch of hand traps and stuff like that. Most notably, Fua Loss is in here, which I think is very important, just because you need as many like draw spells or ways to get additional bodies as you can. It's another reason why I'm playing the Dangers as well, because again, they're just kind of like ways to draw cards. I'm also only playing 2 Allure, because we don't actually want to banish any of our cards, so it's only okay. Like, we're better off putting a guy on field with like the Dangers. So that's what we're doing here. It's pretty simple though. 3 Contact, 3 Banishment, 3 Eggshell, which draws cards, and then 3 Indulged, which can add one of your monsters, so it's decently okay. And then a whole bunch of like 1-ofs and 2-ofs and stuff like that. As for the extra, the only one of note is First Dark Lord. This guy like reborn stuff, and you can fusion summon with him. He's okay. But for the most part, this deck is probably the worst deck that I've played, at least thus far. It can be good, it can do stuff, but you will not have... That's not true. You could have some very fun games, but your opponent might just, like, immediately leave, which is what I had so often as soon as I did anything. It was great. Anyway, let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so here we are going second, because the only way that I could get anyone to actually stick around is if I ended up going second. So that's what's happening. Anyway, my opponent's playing Lightsworn, and it's just a loner. So you're going to see probably one of the worst boards you've ever seen. So we're going to start off here with the Minerva. They're going to activate the Minerva. They're going to send a bunch more cards to the graveyard. They're going to go and special summon out at the Lumina. I don't know why they summoned the Lumina here, but they do. So, like, there's that. Anyway, they're going to mill more cards. They ended up milling this guy, which will come in, well, it will be something of note. They're going to mill more cards, and then special summon this guy. They're going to mill. They hit Wolf, which is pretty nice. So now they can actually go into Steel Swarm Roach. Could I tell you as to why Steel Swarm Roach is on the field as opposed to the Synchro monster that allows them to potentially actually do something here? No. But it's here. If you don't know what this card does, it doesn't do anything. It says it does stuff. It doesn't actually do anything. So, there's that. Anyway, we draw Eggshell for turn, which is fantastic. And I'm almost certain that the set card is the trap that negates, like, Imperm. Or, I guess it's not Imperm, it's like, I don't know, Hot Red Dragon or Desiree. One of those. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that. So I'm going to kind of play around that here. We ended up drawing 2 off of the Eggshell. And then I do goof with the way that I do this, because I go for Nastin here. And I pitch Uprising and stuff like that. But it's just kind of, I don't know. Maybe I didn't goof, but it's hard to say. Realistically, I probably should have called by this, but and then maybe they would have like negated with Aegis. But alas, it's fine. Because what we're going to do is we're going to chain it to the Aegis, which I did call. And yeah, we're going to search up here the Ukobak. This may seem strange. This is where I think I make the mistake. Because we go for the Ukobak here in order to just normal summon the guy so that we have the ability to fusion summon here. Because we can like Reborn with Contact. We can Nastin Reborn with Contact, and then we can fuse with Uprising using Eggshell and stuff like that. And then we have the ability to like bring back a guy. Now, realistically, what I should have done is off of Ukobak's effect, we should have sent, instead of Tez, we should have sent a spell like Banishment or something along those lines, so that we would have had follow-up on the following turn. I don't do that because I'm dumb, and that's okay. Anyway, we're going to go Nastin immediately in the draw phase. We're going to Reborn the Eggshell. Eggshell is then going to be reborn off of the, we're going to use the Eggshell effect in order to fusion summon, and we're going to immediately fusion summon it into the first Dark Lord. Now, if you're wondering why Steel Swarm Roach doesn't activate in any of these circumstances, it's because it can't. Notably, this has one word that is a bit of a problem. It says, during either player's turn, here's the problem word, when a level 5 or higher monster would be special summoned, you can detach to negate the special summon and destroy the card. Now, notably, this is also level 5 or higher, and it requires you to detach to negate the special summon. So, what this means is that if I activate an effect to special summon a thing, this cannot respond to it, because something else happens as the monster is being specialed, right? It's not when a monster is being specialed. It is like something else has to finish before this card would be able to interact. However, if I were to like synchro summon without activating an effect, I just like take 2 4s and I make an 8. That could be negated. Make sense? Makes sense. Think of it like Solemn Judgment. Anyway, so yeah, that card's terrible. Anyway, my opponent's going to mill some cards here, and then realize that they have 5 cards left in their deck, and no spots with which to do anything with. So they just concede. 10 out of 10, no notes. And here is the last deck we're talking about, and it's Eldlich. Yes, Eldlich has a solo mode, therefore pretty much all of Eldlich is untouched. And here's the list that I decided to play. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It has some of my stuff that I really enjoy about trap card decks. But I don't know if it's necessarily perfect or ideal, but that's beside the point. The main point is that we're playing Daddy Eldlich, which is what we really want. I'm also playing 3 Lord of the Heavenly Prison just because it's like a guy that I can put onto the field, so it's like fairly decent. And there's not like a ton of exceptional traps. There's a few like good ones. Obviously Daruma Cannon, which you can see in here. We're playing 3 of. It's very nice. We could also play like Trap Trick or stuff like that, but yeah, for the most part, I feel like this is a fairly okay list. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Not really too much of note. We are playing Solemn Warning and Solemn Strike, which is pretty nice. And then on top of that, we're also playing Hope for Escape, which is just a way to like draw additional cards. This could also be like Reckless Greed, or I mean, that's pretty much it. I just want like ways to draw cards. So there's that. I guess I could also play like Pot of Desires, but like that's a terrible idea. Never mind. Forget I even said that. But there's a few other cards that we could play. I just chose this one. I felt like it was the best. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just control Eldlich. It's pretty cool. Let's hop into the replay. Alright, so here we are going second, and honestly our hand is actually pretty good. Eldlich happens to be pretty much a a removal spell, so he's actually pretty decent here. My opponent is going to reveal that they're on Orcus, so they're going to do the whole Orcus thing. Out comes the Link Karibo. They're going to go for the Harpor. They're going to special summon out the Nightmare here. They're going to go for the Galatea. Orcus Nightmare is going to banish in order to boost by dumping the Symbol Skeleton. I don't know why we don't dump the the World Wand, but they don't. So anyway, out comes Dingirsu. They also set Babel here. They're going to attach and then go into the IP Masquerena. And I believe they just... they do go Symbol Skeleton here for Galatea. So I'm like, oh, likely they have the counter trap here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Anyway, my opponent's going to activate the effect and then set the counter trap. And I go, oh, maybe they don't. Anyway, not really that big of a deal. We're going to go for the Cursed Eldland. Cursed Eldland is going to grab up Hakero. And then we're going to activate the effect of our... Eldlich, we're going to send away the... I believe I send the counter trap. Yeah, I send the counter trap here because I'm like, that one is the one I'm most concerned about. The other two are probably not anything that I should be too concerned about. They're probably like Imperm or... I mean, Called By would be annoying, but like, I can't really do anything about a Called By. So, those are probably the best options here. My opponent decides to go for Topologic Bomber Dragon. For some reason. It was Called By. I don't know why we didn't immediately Called By that, the Eldlich, but we didn't. So, there's that. Anyway, we were able to then send the Cursed Eldland, which sent the Guardian, which is just basically a name. We're going to go for the Eldlich here, or for the Golden Land here. Not Golden Land. Eldlixir of Black Awakening, to summon out the Eldlich, so that we can then get our field nuked by Topologic Bomber Dragon, which is fine. We're going to set a whole bunch of cards here. My opponent's going to keep clicking buttons, and then... they're going to do some more. Out comes Dingirsu. Dingirsu is going to send away the card that I put in the middle. I shouldn't have put Hakero in the middle, but it didn't really matter because we could just set another one. So there's that. Also, during the end phase, we could have set 2 additional cards. So, yeah, I actually set up, I believe, an Eldlixir of White Destiny and another Scarlet Sanguine. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah, we have a lot of ways to do stuff. My opponent is going to normal summon a guy and then special summon a guy into the Topologic Bomber Zone and immediately leave the game because... oops! That's a mandatory effect. This is why we don't use Topologic Bomber Dragon. So yeah, they just ended up nuking their own field, which was very funny. I thought I'd show you that one. Good game. Alright, we're back with the decks, and honestly, I just love the Theme Chronicle. Orchest is one of my favorite decks of all time, and so yeah, being able to play it in this event and have it be a good deck is very, very fun. I'm super excited for the new support for when it comes out in the TCG, as well as when it comes eventually to Master Duel. Also, Eldlich is one of my favorite decks of all time, which is also pretty cool, because it's just like a cool idea. I think Eldlich and the way that the actual Eldlich traps work is very interesting, and it's very fun. Sure, like, it's great with... floodgates, but obviously floodgates suck, but you know, Eldlich itself isn't necessarily the issue with that, right? And you can play it in fun ways, and so, yeah, all in all, very fun. Dark Lords, there's a reason I've stopped playing them in Master Duel, and it's because they're just not good. They're so insanely bad. Even with, like, proper support and stuff like that, most of the time you're just losing to yourself, which is really unfun. I don't really like that, so I've stopped playing that. But to be fair, if you do play the game, it's very fun, and I really do thoroughly enjoy actually being able to play with Dark Lords. So, there you go. All three very fun decks, and yeah, that's pretty much it. More peak event. Let's go. Anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.